or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Jean, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from the February 19th, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Alma Town Board discusses water rates by Sean Cunningham. Water was a major discussion at the Alma Town Board work session on Wednesday, February 11th. Water Superintendent Brian Nolan Jr. said that the Erie County Water Authority was raising the rate for the town of Alma's water by 8.17%. The new rate went into effect January 1. I'm proposing a 9% increase for the town of Alma residents, Nolan Jr. said. In 2025, the county increased the water rate by 13.5%, and the Alma Town Board voted to increase the rate to 15%. I think we should go up to 9.5%, Councilmember Joseph Macaluso said. Councilmember Leroy Kupsik said he agreed. I'm a big advocate of being prepared for infrastructure, but being that we did it last year, I'd hate to see too much of an increase this year, Councilmember Darrell Nolan said. I'd like to stay as close to Erie County's increase, I think, just to give our residents a break. The board will vote on the water rate at Wednesday, February 18th meeting. In other news, Nolan Jr. said that the town had received 2 bids for electrical work for a pump at the Jamison Road plant. The scope of the work was exactly the same for both bids, but the price difference between them was nearly $15,000. Delmar Electric's bid for $29,500, Nolan Jr. said, was the one the company had previously done work for the town on a pump at Transit Road. A second bid was received from Moley Magnetics and Equipment for nearly $45,000. Currently, that company does all of the emergency repairs on the pumps and the variable frequency drive pumps. Nolan Jr. said that he felt comfortable with the lower bidding company as they had previously done work for the town's water system. Some of this work will be paid for by a grant from Erie County, secured by then-legislator James Makulszewski, who is now on the Alma Town Board. There is approximately $23,000 remaining on the grant. Clark said he confirmed with Erie County officials that the grant would still be valid despite only receiving 2 of the required 3 bids for the bidding process. The grant funds run out in July. The project is slated to be completed by May 30th, according to the bid document. We are ready for this work to start down there, Nolan Jr. said. Makulszewski asked if there would be any shutdowns anticipated during the project. Nolan Jr. said that while it was estimated that the work would take a week and a half to 2 weeks, it would not be a full plant shutdown. The other 2 pumps would continue to be operable throughout the process. The Alma Town Board will meet for a work session at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 11th at the Alma Town Hall on Bowen Road. Capital Improvements prepares for Building and Conditions Survey by Sean Cunningham. As construction work continues at the East Aurora Union Free School District, architect Steve Sherskowski from Young and Wright Architectural gave the school board an update on the progress of the district's capital projects during a meeting on Tuesday, February 10th. Annually, the district is allotted $100,000 to spend on a capital outlay project. This year's capital outlay project is a continuation of the exterior masonry work at the high school. Sherskowski said that the district received 6 bids for this phase of the work. Sherskowski said that as a result of the bids, the district will be able to repair all 4 sides of the south wing, whereas last year the district was only able to work on 3 sides of the north wing of the high school. Later in the meeting, the board unanimously approved a contract with Morris Masonry Restoration, LLC, in the amount of nearly $84,000 for work on the A wing of the high school. Sherskowski said that this summer should see the final phase of construction for the 2022 capital improvement project. Currently, the district is finalizing some public address system upgrades at the middle school, which were delayed due to contractor availability. Shurkowski said he expects this portion of the project to finish in the next few weeks. Much of the demolition for Phase 2 at the middle school took place during the December break to minimize impacts to the students. Work's been ongoing on the second shift for the last, I would say, month and a half now, and we're going to be transitioning to first shift work now that the bulk of heavy demolition is completed, Shurkowski said. Shurkowski said that the contractors have begun mechanical and electrical work in the Family and Consumer Sciences classroom on the first floor of the middle school. In the library, Shurkowski said there were few unforeseen complications with respect to what they uncovered during demolition. The former library is being turned into a media center outfitted with current technology and completing a renovation to expose the two-story ceiling in this space. When the school was built over 100 years ago, the portion of the building that currently houses the library was an auditorium with a stage. The former stage is now flush with the cement wall from a capital project years ago. We had expected a few small items, things like pipes buried in walls, 2 layers of drywall when we're thinking that there was going to be one, Shurkowski said, but things have been going very smoothly. Walls in the library are currently being framed. Over the next few months, electrical, ductwork, and piping are scheduled to take place. The last major component of the project will be renovating some first-floor hallways in the middle school. Shurkowski said this work would not take place until later in the school year and over the summer. Shurkowski said that the work would be too invasive to complete while students were still in the building, and that the middle school would largely be closed over the summer to allow finished construction to take place. The hallway renovations will include updated floors, ceilings, lights, lockers, and repainting. With respect to the overall budget to the capital project, Shurkowski said that there was still roughly $300,000 reserved for contingency, and a large portion of that would go toward the unforeseen items encountered during demolition. Approximately $30,000 of the contingency funds have been earmarked for an emergency repair that took place with respect to utility lines that connect to the district via Main Street. Contractors already working in the building were hired to complete the repair. Shurkowski said that the costs of the repair between labor and materials were still being broken down before being given to the district. There's an element of responsibility. Is it a utility issue on Main Street, or was it a district property issue of maintaining the line? Shurkowski said. In addition, there is approximately $230,000 of available funds to be allocated for additional work. Due to some unexpected high bids for work throughout the project, some of the items originally slated for upgrade and renovation had to be considered as additional alternates until it was determined there would be funds to complete those projects. Shurkowski said his firm is looking at incorporating some of the alternatives into the remaining work. Shurkowski said that one of those projects would likely be incorporating an office for Assistant Superintendent Mark Mambretti on the second floor of the middle school. Originally, an office was to be created for him on the first floor of the building. Also, Shurkowski said that the firm was looking to renovate some of the hallways near the district offices, facelifting the conference room, and some camera system improvements. Shurkowski said that the money could go to some of the structural repairs, including damage to some steelwork caused by a roof leak that has since been patched. Bid documents are being reconstructed for these possible projects, and Buffalo Construction Consultants is helping to get fair pricing from contractors. The final bids would be vetted by the district before any work is done. This year, the district will have to complete a state-mandated building and conditions survey. This was last done in 2021, and the information from this survey was used to form the 2022 Capital Improvement Project. The survey will take place in March and look to turn the report over in the summer. What our goal will be to build a 10 to 15-year comprehensive plan, Shurkowski said. The East Aurora School Board will meet again at 7 p.m. Wednesday, March 4th in the middle school cafeteria on Main Street. EA High School Unified Club members advocate for funding on Capitol Hill by Rick Oler. I didn't even have to ask East Aurora High School Unified Club and Special Olympics athlete Sadie Freer how her trip to Washington, D.C. was. When I arrived for our conversation at school, she was bursting with excitement and anxious to tell me what an amazing adventure she'd had with fellow senior and Unified Club co-president Cam Jacobek, English teacher and Unified Club advisor Tara Arnold, and special education teacher Claire Kavanaugh. The four represented New York State for Capitol Hill Day, where they lobbied elected representatives and government officials on behalf of funding for Special Olympics, which oversees the unified sports programs at the youth level. While it was a great opportunity to visit the nation's capital, it was hardly a vacation for the Blue Devil contingent. The four had a relentless agenda of events and meetings that kept them busy. Starting on Monday, February 9th, after they settled into their hotel, they met with other athletes, partners, and faculty from across the country at an athlete social and had dinner with CEO of Special Olympics in New York State. All in all, 315 participants came from 84 programs nationwide. Tuesday, we were on the go all day, Arnold said, a 2008 EAHS graduate and former cross-country star. We had breakfast at 7:30, arrived at the Capitol around 9:30, and then had meetings all day till 5. We clocked 7 walking miles inside the Capitol building going from office to office. They visited several congressmen from New York State, discovered that while most were familiar with Special Olympics, some had never heard of unified sports. With standing as a unified champion school because of success and vitality of the Unified Club at the high school level, and, now, middle school levels, East Aurora was a good choice to attend Capitol Hill Day. Add to that the annual Inclusion Week that involves the whole school, its reputation as a top-level fundraiser, and the annual Polar Plunge, its ongoing relationship with Special Olympics, the annual Unified Day it shares with Iroquois, a unified pioneer, and it's clear why Special Olympics New York chose them to speak for the state. And speak they did, as did their colleagues from across the country. All in all, 370 meetings took place on Capitol Hill, each with the purpose of showing the elected officials and their staff members how Special Olympics, unified sports, and inclusion in general benefit everyone involved. When I asked Sadie how she was picked out of all the unified athletes, she proudly said, "I know how to stand up for myself. I can advocate for the Special Olympics." Prompted by Mrs. Arnold, Sadie mentioned that she had happened to bring her impressive array of Special Olympics medals from her ongoing bicycle racing career jangling around her neck. Cam Jacobek was a natural as the unified partner to come along on the trip. Her high school resume may be longest in her class. Along with being co-president of the Unified Club with Diego Barcenas, she's co-president and co-founder of the Letters of Love Club that creates and distributes handmade cards to kids with illnesses all over. She plays varsity volleyball and lacrosse, volunteers at the Boys and Girls Club, has an internship at Parkdale, and works on the school's yearbook. And she is good friends with Sadie, helping guide her through the many new experiences that an airport and plane flight bring, making her feel comfortable on 2 overnights in a hotel far away from family, and helping her with responsibilities and logistics of spending a day championing her cause with strangers. It's a lot, and to have a friend like Cam and teachers Kavanaugh and Arnold meant the world to her. "What was the best part?" I asked Sadie. "Besides being with my besties," she said without hesitating, "and overcoming my fear of flying, thanks to Cam." "Yes, it was amazing," said Cam of the trip. "The best experience and opportunity I could ever have had at my age. Just being able to do all of that while still being in high school is amazing." Not only did she represent her school in the inclusion of the Special Olympics and unified sports, her considerable social media skills were called upon too. So we had dinner Monday night with the CEO of Special Olympics in New York, and Mrs. Arnold was just telling them how I know my way around social media. So they offered me the opportunity to run the Special Olympics New York Instagram page for the day. That was fun. Because of her experiences with the Unified Club, she's planning to major in special education and early childhood education in college next year. The team did get to do some sightseeing along the National Mall before they left for home on Wednesday afternoon. Sadie, who was tired from her long Capitol Hill day, lit up when the Lincoln Memorial came into sight and exclaimed, "I'm not tired anymore." They visited the African American Museum of History and Culture. It was a great day, Cam said. We all had our Special Olympics jackets on so people would recognize and talk to us. The value of a trip like Capitol Hill Day was immediate and profound for Arnold and Kavanaugh, both as dedicated as any teachers you will find. Being with Sadie on a trip like this helped me to see with a different lens outside the classroom, Kavanaugh said. It showed me what I can do to further help her independence before she leaves me upon graduation. I think about my other students in my special ed classes. I wonder how they would navigate that restaurant or airport or plane ride or meeting with strangers. Inclusion and Unified Club do that very well at East Aurora. After the academic piece is done, they have to be as independent as possible in their daily lives. Everyone wanted to be involved with Sadie's adventure. At school today, Sadie was sharing stories with her classmates. We went through the photos and talked through the whole experience. She did great. I learned a lot that I will take with me. Traveling to D.C. reinforced why I am so passionate about Unified, Arnold said. I think about what we are representing and all the great people and amazing coaches here at EA and everywhere that go above and beyond. We were tired but grateful. Sadie echoed that sentiment. Being tired is temporary, but the memories are forever. If there is an uptick in funding for the Special Olympics and Unified Sports in the next budget, you'll be able to direct your thanks, in part at least, to 1003 Center Street, East Aurora. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. With Fidelis Care Grant, the Rural Outreach Center will bring health services to rural poor, by Rick Oler. The respect the Rural Outreach Center, ROC, commands as it completes its second decade of assisting, empowering, and elevating the rural poor of southern West New York was apparent on February 11th when Channels 2, 4, and 7 joined the Advertiser at ROC headquarters for a major announcement. With its marketing team in attendance, health insurance provider Fidelis Care awarded to the ROC a $20,000 Here for Your Health grant to help with ROC's constituency with access to health care. Said Fidelis Director of Sales and Marketing Jennifer Lyons, "We're so pleased to present Chief Operations Officer Monique Brannon and the team from the Rural Outreach Center this $20,000 Here for Your Health grant. The grant will support the outstanding work that the ROC team is doing to make sure that all communities, regardless of where they are, have access to health care programs, resources, and services." In accepting the check, COO Brannon said, "We thank Fidelis for not only this grant, but for continuing to support all of the programs that we offer within rural areas. With Fidelis's help, we are launching a pilot program in which we will be reaching out to rural communities and providing health services and preventive health screening. Our goal is to wrap social and mental health screenings into general health screening. The pilot program will help us lessen barriers to health care, such as transportation. Transportation is one of those critical needs where rural residents might be 20 miles from their closest healthcare provider or grocery store, so really bridging those gaps is what we're focusing on. With this grant, we will be able to send healthcare professionals to these rural areas on a regular, rotating basis to provide both healthcare monitoring and counseling." Lyons put the grant in perspective. The grants that we are giving out statewide are going to 7 different organizations and community providers that are really focused on innovative strategies to make these resources more accessible. A key component to this pilot program is that it allows us to engage our community partners as well, added Brennan. It's the ability to collaborate with multiple agencies so we're not providing redundant services that are already established in those areas or with other organizations. We partner with over 90 community partners. Roswell Park Comprehensive Care Center, for instance, estimates that 15,000 people in our target area need cancer screening. We'll be working closely with them to facilitate their mobile screening unit. Brannon also covered some of the important points of ROC mission, notably that 45,000 people in their target area live in poverty, many without access to not only health care, but other basic needs such as transportation, telephone, proper cooking, and bathroom facilities. We touch close to 5,000 people a year, she said. We can assist our clients with their immediate needs, but more important is helping them to set reachable goals like stable housing, healthier living, emotional stability, financial security, employment, transportation, relationship stability, and academic development. The ROC was founded in 2006 by Dr. Frank Cerny, who recognized the often hidden needs of the rural poor, even in seemingly affluent communities. The ROC has grown from its humble origins in South Wales Community Centre, where they offered community dinners and a used appliance and furniture distribution service, into a sophisticated organization housed in the Scott Byler Family Foundation on Olean Road. Find the ROC at theroc.co. Dr. Nicole Barrett named CPO the Rural Outreach Center. Dr. Nicole Barrett has been promoted to Chief Program Officer at the Rural Outreach Center, ROC, in East Aurora. Barrett has served as ROC's Director of Programs since 2022. Dr. Barrett joined the ROC team at the start of the COVID pandemic to design experiences for children engaged at the ROC that would ensure that our children didn't lose the social, mental, and academic gains they had been making. ROC Director Frank Cerny said. That initial summer Dream Big experience accomplished that goal. Since then, Dream Big and other experiences have helped children engage at the ROC thrive. We have seen gains in social, emotional, academic, and self-confidence scores. Nicole's background in education and experience at the ROC made it a natural step to direct both childhood and adult experiences at the ROC. The ROC, located at 730 Olean Road in East Aurora, assists, empowers, and elevates individuals and families living in rural poverty in southern Erie County and surrounding areas. The organization's staff and volunteers serve with compassion, empathy, and respect for all people. The ROC goal is to break the cycle of multi-generational rural poverty by providing adults and children alike with a wide range of services, including counseling, play therapy, care coordination, job readiness and financial literacy, educational opportunities, and growth experiences. For more information, visit theroc.co or call 716-240-2220. Aurora Police Report. Accident leads to DWI. A property damage accident was reported on Falls Road at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, February 10th. The 65-year-old male complainant from West Falls stated that there was a vehicle off the road in a ditch and that the report says he believed the operator may be intoxicated. Upon arrival, the driver and subject, a 45-year-old female from Buffalo, was observed. Her vehicle was off the roadway on the northbound shoulder and a street sign appeared to have been damaged by the vehicle. The subject stated that her vehicle suddenly slipped off the roadway. The report says the roadway was wet, but that there was no ice in the area. The subject stated she was coming from a house where she is a cleaner. The report says she had heavily slurred speech, glassy red eyes, poor motor coordination and balance, a staggering gait, and an odor of alcohol emanating from her breath. The subject was asked how many alcoholic beverages she had consumed this evening, at which time she became verbally aggressive and argumentative. The subject stated she did not consume any alcohol. The subject continued to be verbally hostile and stated she would not participate in any standard field sobriety tests and was placed under arrest for DWI. The subject was taken to the station for processing, where she did not respond to her Miranda rights, nor 3 attempts at a breathalyzer test. A chemical test was completed. During the course of the criminal processing, the report says the subject was extremely uncooperative and belligerent. A vehicle inventory was conducted, and it was towed from the scene with a 12-hour hold placed on it. The complainant was contacted and stated he would report to the station to provide a statement. The complainant reportedly stated when he first spoke to the subject, she said, "I'm DWI." In an unrelated incident, a 29-year-old male from Buffalo was arrested for DWI following a traffic stop that occurred on Center Street at 12:30 a.m. Saturday, February 14th. According to the report, a vehicle traveling eastbound on Cazenovia Street approached Center Street when it failed to come to a complete stop at the intersection. The vehicle made a right-hand turn proceeding southbound on Center Street. Using rear-mounted radar, the vehicle failed to come to a complete stop at the intersection of Center Street and Linden Avenue, and a traffic stop was conducted. The driver was contacted and identified from his New York State driver's license. He was advised that he was being stopped for failing to stop at 2 stop signs. The subject stated that he was traveling from a bar on Oakwood Avenue to his girlfriend's house. The report says he had slurred speech, red glassy eyes, and an odor of alcohol emanating from his breath. The subject stated that he did not have any alcoholic beverages that evening. After failing standard field sobriety tests, the subject stated that he had consumed 4 alcoholic beverages throughout the course of the evening. He was arrested for DWI and taken to the station for processing. The subject submitted to a breathalyzer, but after 4 separate attempts, he reportedly failed to provide with adequate breath sample and was deemed a refusal by conduct. The subject was processed and released to a third party. The vehicle inventory was conducted, and the vehicle was towed from the scene with a 12-hour hold being placed on it. DiPietro receives American Farm Bureau's Friend of the Farm Bureau Award. Assemblyman David DiPietro was awarded the American Farm Bureau Federation's Friend of Farm Bureau Award for prioritizing the needs of New York agriculture. This recognition reflects his ongoing support for farmers and rural communities throughout his tenure in the state assembly. DiPietro has received this award every year since first taking office for his commitment to the policies that protect agricultural interests and promote economic vitality. I am honored to once again receive the American Farm Bureau Federation's Friend of Farm Bureau Award, DiPietro said. New York's farmers are up before dawn. They represent our rural economies and put food on our tables. It has been my privilege to fight for their priorities every session. I will continue to support our farmers, reduce burdensome regulations, and ensure New York is a leader in agricultural nationally. A Little Farming and the History of Bluebirds by Hans Kunz. It's been quite a winter for snow and steady cold temperatures. At times, it seems like winter is dragging on, given that it started back in November, and we've had little reprieve since then. Many of you might be saying to yourselves that that's an understatement. But yes, we have had 2 normal winters in a row, especially if you remember winters from decades ago. I just had a birthday, and Mom always reminds me of a brutal blizzard that took place while she was in the hospital on Abe Lincoln's birthday in 1960. Mom and Dad were operating a dairy farm, and at that time, there were many dairy farms, and thus there was much more local bulk milk trucking action on the country roads. It was crucial that the milk trucks would be able to collect the milk from all the dairy farms with milk pickup every other day. During this blizzard, the snowdrifts were so high that snowplows were virtually making 1-lane tunnels to help milk trucks reach the farm destinations. Fast forward to today, and much has changed in the world of dairy farming. Yes, the number of cows in New York State is about the same. However, they are congregated into fewer but much larger dairy facilities. Small dairy farms are a rarity as much as larger farms with greater efficiencies for growing crops and milking cows have taken over. As a commercial and agricultural banker for 40 years, I have watched this transition firsthand. Our farm here on LaGrange Road in Wyoming is one of those former small dairies because as a banker I decided to stay in farm lending and not take over my parents' active dairy herd. It was a tough decision, but probably the right one. Having that experience of growing up on a small family farm was precious. Today that farm remains and grows crops that supply one of the larger dairy farms with feed for their cows. That little bit of history I witnessed, together with watching the rest of the dairy world transitioning, further validated the transition that actually started somewhere around 1900 when country roads were populated with many, much smaller farms, each with only a few cows. These farms all had to keep their pastured cows separate from their neighbors' cows using traditional wood post fencing. That meant lots of fencing and lots of pastures. The wooden fence posts at the time had many holes in them, which were perfect for the cavity nesting birds, especially the eastern bluebirds. The pasture habitat was also perfect for the bluebirds as they liked hunting for insects in open short grass habitats. Yes, the bluebird population was booming back in the early half of the 20th century, but as dairy farming modernized and dairy herds increased in size, the traditional perfect fences and pastures started to dwindle. That meant less natural nesting habitat for the bluebirds to thrive in, and that meant a large decline in the bluebird population. It wasn't until the 60s, 70s, and 80s that placing the bluebird nest boxes out for the bluebirds would start the revival of their population. Today, their population is in good shape, thanks to many people and organizations that have placed these nest boxes out for them in their preferred open habitats, and many small hobby farms and parks are providing that desired habitat. The demise of the bluebird also had to do with the advanced apple fruit orchard agriculture, replacing the many old fruit orchards that included many hollows that were also perfect for bluebird nesting. Today, a few old orchard trees with hollow cavities even exist. Add to that the steady rise in the invasive bird species, the English sparrow and the European starling, both taking over many of the few remaining natural nesting cavities, and also nest boxes. So, as you can see, agriculture's changing scene over the last 125 years has a lot to do with the bluebird population and success and challenges over time. Thus, we need to do all we can to help the bluebird, our native New York bird, to thrive in the future. Keeping English sparrows from dominating the bluebird nest box remains a challenge, and keeping starlings from dominating red-headed woodpecker nesting cavities is a major issue. Bluebird nesting season is fast approaching. There's much to learn about bluebirds and helping them to be successful. Don't forget about the New York State Bluebird Society and its conservation efforts on behalf of the bluebirds and other native cavity nesting birds. We will be holding the annual State Bluebird Society Conference in Warsaw on April 25th. It's a great program lineup, which you can read about on the Bluebird Society website. If you're planning on coming, reservations are not required. However, for planning reasons and space, a reservation is appreciated. You can do this by calling or texting me. Until the next time, keep paying attention to the many signs of spring. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. East Aurora Kiwanis announces scholarship. The Kiwanis Club of East Aurora is once again offering 2 $1,000 scholarships for Town of Aurora High School seniors graduating this June. The scholarships will be awarded to 2 seniors who are committed to continuing their education this fall 2026. Financial need will be a consideration for selection, as well as scholastic achievement, leadership, and community service. Applications are available at the East Aurora High School outside the Counseling Center and on the East Aurora Kiwanis website at k01405.site.kiwanis.org, East Aurora Kiwanis Scholarship Program. Completed applications must be received by May 1st to be considered. East Aurora Holland Community Education offers music lessons. East Aurora Holland Community Education is offering 2 music courses this year: Instant Piano for hopelessly busy people, and Instant Guitar for hopelessly helpless busy people, both taught by Craig Kaufman. Instant Piano is designed for beginners and is partly hands-on and partly lecture demonstration. For decades, the class was taught live at colleges on campus, but now it is taught exclusively online using Zoom. In this one session, 3-hour class, students will learn about the 3 basic types of chords on the piano and how to play from what is commonly called a lead sheet or fake book. Kaufman said that the students who attend this class will leave the class being able to play simple songs right away with both hands. Participants are not required to perform in front of others. To view an introduction to the class, visit youtube.com. Instant Guitar is a one-time 2.5-hour course on Zoom. In the class, students will learn how to form 5 basic chords on the guitar and how to strum. The guitar also introduces some basic information about how music is put together. To watch a clip of the guitar class, visit youtube.com. These classes include a professionally recorded version of the class that was filmed at a college, along with an online book and online follow-up lessons. An optional monthly question and answer session is also available at no additional charge. To register for the class, contact Holland East Aurora Community Education at 716-537-8223. County Agricultural Society offering scholarships. The Erie County Agricultural Society, ECAS, is now accepting applications for its 2026 scholarship programs. In 2025, ECAS awarded $105,000 in scholarships to 26 high school seniors and college students, continuing a steady increase from $72,000 in 2024 and $50,000 in 2023. Scholarship opportunities are made available to students who actively participate in the Erie County Fair and the ECAS-sponsored activities. Over the years, scholarship recipients have participated in a variety of activities, including performing in the Pepsi All-Star Band, serving as a media or landscape assistant, exhibiting in competitive exhibits or livestock shows, volunteering with Friends of the Fair, or working in a concession stand. Since the scholarship program's inception in the 1950s, its mission has been to connect students with opportunities in agriculture, business, and volunteerism. Scholarship funding comes from ECAS membership and partner donations, as well as proceeds from events such as the Winter Ball and the Breakfast with Champions, the Erie County Fair's recycling program, and the bidding of artwork created by the fair's chainsaw artist and glassblower. ECAS offers 2 scholarship programs. The application process for both scholarships is the same, but the qualifications differ. The Erie County Fair Scholarship seeks students who are enrolled or enrolling in a college or university. These students must have participated in the Erie County Fair in some capacity in order to be eligible. Participation includes, but is not limited to, employment, exhibition, volunteering, Pepsi All-Star Band, or participation in other performances. Up to $1,500 will be awarded per student. The Erie County Agricultural Society Scholarship is limited to students who are pursuing an agriculture-related career. Students must be enrolling or enrolled in a college or university and must be able to describe how their field of study will help them in their agricultural endeavors. Applicants must also show participation in the Erie County Fair or Erie County Agricultural Society sponsored activities, such as participation in livestock shows, employment, volunteering, etc. Up to $10,000 will be awarded per student. Eligible students must be high school seniors or college students up to their junior year. Applicants do not have to attend a college in New York State or be residents of New York State. Limited scholarships are available. Applicants may be asked to participate in an interview by the scholarship committee. The 2026 scholarship application deadline is April 15th. To apply, visit www.ecfair.org/scholarships. Kissing Bridge All Seasons Resort appoints Matt Thomas as general manager. Matt Thomas is the new general manager at Kissing Bridge All Seasons Resort. Thomas brings nearly 30 years of experience in the ski industry, spanning frontline operations, mountain safety, risk management, and executive leadership at both large destination resorts and community-focused mountains. A native of Pennsylvania, Thomas began his career on the ground level of resort operations, working in rentals, teaching skiing and snowboarding, and later managing lift operations. In 2003, he became a certified ski patroller, building a deep foundation in on-mountain safety, emergency response, and guest care. He remains an active member of the National Ski Patrol, a role that he continues to influence his thoughtful, safety-first approach to leadership. Thomas joins Kissing Bridge most recently from Telluride Ski and Golf in Colorado, where he served as Director of Risk Management, supporting more than 1,500 employees across mountain operations, hospitality, retail, hotel, and golf divisions. In that role, he led the implementation of comprehensive safety programs, managed insurance and claims, introduced new operational technologies, and modernized emergency and safety plans to meet evolving regulatory standards. Previously, Thomas served as Vice President and General Manager of Round Top Mountain Resort in Pennsylvania, overseeing a year-round operation that included skiing, snowboarding, tubing, summer attractions, camps, and events. During his tenure, he led major capital improvement projects, launched new revenue-generating events, and expanded summer operations to support long-term growth and stability. Thomas has presented at National Ski Areas Association trade shows on employee safety, incident investigation, and the use of technology to improve resort operations. His leadership philosophy centers on empowering frontline teams, building strong safety cultures, and delivering exceptional guest experiences. Thomas will be relocating to the area with his wife and 3 children. Proposed legislation will provide middle-class tax cuts. Senator Patrick M. Gallivan and members of the Senate Minority Conference are proposing a Keep What You Have Earned legislative package that, if passed, would deliver real tax relief to all New Yorkers. Making New York more affordable starts with reducing the tax burden residents and businesses face and controlling state spending, Gallivan said. Eliminating income tax on tips and overtime combined with these other initiatives will provide much-needed tax relief for families, empower workers, and help small businesses succeed. This package is part of the Senate Minority Conference's broader 2026 legislative agenda entitled Save New York, a plan to improve affordability, enhance public safety, and build a stronger New York for today and future generations. New Yorkers face some of the highest costs of living in the country. By removing income taxes on the first dollars earned, this bill will help families better afford housing, childcare, and groceries, save for emergencies and retirement, and build their futures here in New York. The Keep What You've Earned legislative package includes eliminate state personal income tax on the first $50,000 for single filers and $100,000 for married filing jointly. Lower the tax rate to 4% for single filers up to $250,000 and $500,000 for married filing jointly. The proposal provides $37 billion in tax relief to New York residents over its 10-year implementation without having to cut funding from vital state programs, as its costs would be absorbed through natural growth of the economy. Co-sponsored by Gallivan, no state income tax on overtime. Co-sponsored by Gallivan, no state income tax on tips. Co-sponsored by Gallivan, establishes an annual spending growth cap on the state budget that limits the growth of state operating funds spending. Co-sponsored by Gallivan, reduces the amount small businesses and farms must pay in taxes by increasing the corporate tax threshold from $390,000 to $500,000 and lowering the rate to 2.5%. Expands the small business exemption to all PIT businesses regardless of whether they have employees, increases the threshold to $500,000, increases the exemption to 15%, and increases the exemption to 20% for farmers. Co-sponsored by Gallivan, reduce the property tax burden on homeowners by providing for a 10-year state takeover of the local share of Medicaid for local governments subject to the 2% property tax cap. Requires a 2/3 vote from each house of the state legislature to impose or extend taxes, a 2/3 vote from local legislative bodies to impose or extend local taxes, and a 2/3 vote from local legislative bodies requesting an imposition or extension of taxes by state legislature. Freezes real property taxes for 3 years to provide relief to New York homeowners. Heat competes in Section 6 Indoor Track Team Championship by Mike Tanner. On Saturday, February 14th, the Holland East Aurora indoor track team, known as the Heat, competed in the Section 6 Indoor Track Team Championship meet hosted by the Kerr Pagula Arena at Houghton University. The Heat finished second in small schoolboys flanked by 2 neighbors. Iroquois won the small school team championship after the Red Hawks scored 110 points. The Heat finished second, adding up to 105.50 points. Pioneer finished third after the Panthers tallied 70 points. Jonah Seabolt finished first, 4.38.17, and Luke Wright finished second, 4.49.24, for a 1-2 Heat finish in the boys' 1,600 meters to lead the Heat. The Heat also finished first in the boys' 3,200 meter relay, 8.29.40, which was tops for small schools and tops overall, large and small. Noah Flaherty finished third, 2.46.05, and Max Frazier finished fourth, 2.50.84, for a 3-4 finish in the boys' 1,000 meters. Nathan Kubiak finished seventh, 2.52.93, for top 10 Heat finishers. Colton White finished third in the boys' high jump, while Casey O'Malley finished fifth, and Lawson Swartz finished eighth for the 3 top 10 Heat finishers. Lucas Leitzen finished third in the boys' pole vault, and Luca Barkley finished third in the boys' weight throw. Flaherty finished fifth in the boys' 600 meters, and Alex Kolkin finished ninth for 2 Heat finishers in the top 10. The Heat finished fifth in the boys' 1,600 meter relay and seventh in the boys' 800 meter relay. Barkey finished seventh in the boys' shot put. Anthony Serkansky finished eighth, Wright finished ninth, and Seabolt finished 10th for a 7-8-9 Heat finish in the boys' 3,200 meters. White finished 10th in the boys' triple jump, and Travis Malky finished 13th for 2 top 15 finishes for the Heat. White finished 12th in the boys' 55-meter hurdles. Rice Streaker finished 15th in the boys' 300-meter dash. The Heat girls were led by the 3,200-meter relay that finished both first in small schools and first overall. Emma Martino finished second, Hannah Wall finished third, and Mary Matot finished ninth for 3 top 10 finishes in the girls' 1,000 meters for the Heat. Caitlin Zababa finished fourth, and Lilia Di Gaetano finished seventh for 2 in the top 10 for the Heat in the girls' 1,500 meters. Wall finished fourth and eighth combined, while Claire McCarville finished 8th and 14th combined for 2 small school top 10 Heat finishers in the girls' 1,500 meter race walk. The heat also finished fourth in the girls' 1,600-meter relay. Kaylin Houghton finished second and fifth combined, and Zababa finished seventh for small schools and 16th combined, for two in the top 16 for the combined girls' 3,000 meters. Mackenzie Howard finished fifth in the girls' 55-meter hurdles. Grace Kanaski finished sixth in the girls' 600 meters. The heat finished seventh in the girls' 800-meter relay, and Howard finished 10th in the girls' high jump. Lucia Liberti finished 14th in the girls' 55-meter dash, and Grace Harvey finished 15th in the girls' 300-meter dash. Next for the heat will be the Section 6 state qualifier indoor track meet on Saturday, February 28th at the Caribagula Arena of Houghton University. Halsman shatters school record with 58-point explosion in win by Rick Oler. Iroquois junior center Kendall Halsman became a scoring dynamo on Friday night, February 13th, pouring in 58 points against Springville in an 82-63 victory. Halsman also added 19 rebounds, 5 steals, and 4 blocks. At 6'8", Halsman rarely finds herself in a position to shoot from the three-point arc. She has one three-pointer in 19 games this season. So it was no surprise that her 58 points came on 28 two-point shots and 2 free throws, even while sitting out the last few minutes of the game. She now holds the single-game school record for points, eclipsing the previous record of 52 set by senior point guard Justice Kleitz earlier this year. The previous girls' mark was 51, set by the Red Hawks all-Western New York guard Molly Mescal last year. Halsman followed the Springville explosion with only 28 points and 16 rebounds in a disappointing 78-63 loss to rival Lakeshore on Saturday, February 14th. She now has 1,683 points and trails Mescal by 104 points for the all-time point in girls basketball. She has also gathered 1,142 rebounds. At 28.16 points and 16.26 rebounds per game, she leads Section 6 in both categories. The Red Hawks finished the ECIC Division III season at 8-4, good enough for third place. The sectional tournament begins on Tuesday, February 24th, with a championship game at Buffalo State University on Wednesday, March 4th. Blue Devils clinch divisional title, host Iroquois in regular season finale by Rick Oler. With 2 critical wins last week against ECIC divisional opponents, the East Aurora Blue Devils boys varsity basketball team clinched at least a tie for the ECIC Division IV championship for the second time in 3 years. Coach Chris Kozelny's boys stand at 8-2 in their division, 11-7 overall. After starting the season slowly at 4-5, they found their rhythm and put together a 7-2 record in the second half. 3 recent victories were key: a close 49-42 win over Depew on February 2nd, a surprisingly easy 79-44 drubbing of Maryvale on February 11th, where Alex Mayor exploded for 25 points, and a 64-48 decision over the Alden Bulldogs on February 13th, with sophomore Ben Greco's 7 three-pointers making the difference. The Blue Devils' final game of the regular season will be a non-conference contest against Iroquois on Wednesday, February 18th at home with a 12:30 p.m. tip-off. With a favorable seed, East Aurora will begin its playoff run on February 25th with Section 6 championship on March 5th at the Buffalo State University. Krieger takes 6, leads East Aurora Holland Wrestling by Mike Tanner. On February 14th and 15th, East Aurora Holland wrestled at the Section 6 Division II State Qualifier Wrestling Tournament hosted by Fredonia State. The meet closed the Blue Devils season. Camden Krieger finished 6th at 150 pounds to lead the Blue Devils. 2-time champ, Iroquois senior Michaela Thomas became a 2-time Section 6 165 pounds girls wrestling championship at Fredonia State University on Sunday, February 15th. Michaela beat Chloe Hosier of Chautauqua Lake in a 12-0 technical fall to win the bracket. Fireman's choice of the 4-alarm chili challenge goes to Babica Pierogi on Elm Street. Accepting the award from Megan Trent, the Town of Aurora Recreation Department, is Linda Lund, owner of Babsia's. Reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10 a.m. Your reader has been Jean, and I thank you for listening.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Dasha, and for the next hour I'll be reading from current issues of the Niagara Gazette.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability.